So our goal at PTEN Research is to help support the development of treatments for people with PHCS. And we do that by funding and facilitating research into the condition. We actually support quite a broad span of different projects, which range from basic research, which helps to understand the underlying biology of PHCS, right through to undertaking clinical trials for potential new treatments. And although we're a UK-based organisation, we do work with PHCS experts both in the UK and also throughout the world. And we think that approach is really important in a rare disease like PHCS because it helps ensure that not only do we get input from experts regardless of where they're located, but it also supports collection of data from the broadest possible group of people living with PHCS. But I think it's always important to stress that one of the key conditions of us providing funding for any work is that the data that is collected in any study is published in a scientific journal, and that ensures that all PHCS patients benefit from that work, as well as making sure that the data is available to researchers. So at PTEN Research, we have a small but experienced group of just 5 employees, and actually we've just hired our 6th team member, a director of finance, who will be joining us in a couple of months' time. From a personal perspective, my experience is actually in drug development from industry. So before joining the foundation, I actually worked for a number of big pharmaceutical companies and small biotech organizations. And the work that I did there actually was quite relevant to PHCS and the work that I'm doing in the foundation. I spent a lot of time developing treatments for oncology, but also molecules from rare diseases.
Sure. So my background is in molecular biology, biochemistry. So I trained as a biochemist and then did a PhD in trying to understand how cells communicate with each other and within cells. And my research was very focused on a group of molecules called PI3 kinases, which actually they do the opposite of what PTEN does. So my research is kind of very related to PHTS, even though not directly. So I think that makes me quite well placed to try and understand and move the research forward in this field as well. Yeah, sure. So the focus of the foundation is really to develop treatments into PHTS, and that's really what kind of drives us forward. And sort of strategically, we're really interested in trying to assess the utility of existing drugs that have been developed for other conditions and diseases and how those could be utilized for PHTS, because this really will make us go a lot faster. And there's a lot of information around about how those drugs work and their safety as well. So the foundation has quite a lot of programs and different projects ongoing at the moment. We've got 18 active projects that kind of span from basic research to understand the disease to clinical trials. And very excitingly, one of the sort of main projects that we've been involved in and partly funding is the first ever clinical trial to really test one of these drugs in PHTS and individuals with neurodevelopmental delay. And that study has just completed, and even with COVID, they've done a really, really amazing job to really get that over the finish line. And the people the individuals who have participated, clearly it's testament to their commitment. So that study's data has been looked at, analysed, and it's really been prepared for publication in the scientific journal. So sort of watch this space. It would be really a milestone for the whole field. And beyond that, we're also very actively working to kind of raise interest and awareness in PHTS, not only with academic partners, but also with other industry collaborators to really try to make things go as fast as we can, despite drug development being quite a slow process. But that's really our mission.
So in addition to the ongoing programs that we have that are listed on our website, we're already discussing some new programs. And actually, to support the development of new programs, we've set up a series of working groups with international PHCS experts over the last couple of years. And actually, these working groups have already led to a number of grants being approved, and specifically we have 2 grants to develop tools specific to measuring changes from a behavioural and cognitive perspective for PHCS. And that could be very valuable to assess changes over time, or as a result of education, or as a result of a drug treatment in a clinical trial. So those are things that we've recently taken on. In terms of new programs, we're also discussing a grant to better describe and classify changes to vascular anomalies that sometimes occur in PHCS. And a vascular anomaly is actually a change to an artery or a vein. And again, we hope this work will help support future clinical trials in the future. One final piece of work that the Foundation have recently started is what we call a targeted call. And that's where we've actually invited researchers to submit proposals to us to help better understand the multiple different functions of PTEN within cells. And the goal of that piece of work, although a piece of basic research, is to potentially identify future new targets for PHCS treatments.
Well, there's a lot of information on our website, ptenresearch.org, which contains information not only about us as an organisation and our team, but also about PHTS and all the projects that we fund and how to apply for funding if you're a researcher. You can also subscribe to our LinkedIn page, and you can also sign up to our newsletter, which we send out every quarter, which has updates about the work that the Foundation's doing and any news and cool new things about PHTS that have come up.